Morning guys, how you doing? Welcome to the channel. At last the weather has changed, so we've got a bit of settled weather, so hopefully that will mean a bit of fishing in the near future. This morning we are going to talk soft plastics and how you rig them, what sizes to use and when, where I prefer. You know, everybody has their own thing, right? I mean, how do you get your own thing? Well, you just get out there on the coast or in the estuary or on the sandbars or over the kelp beds or wherever or the open beach indeed, wherever your haunt is, and you fish until you find stuff that works. So I'm going to start with the kind of the smaller stuff and then work up the way a bit towards the much bigger lures, right? So my favorite paddle tail at the moment, certainly for early season fishing, is that the Madness Madial 90. I mean, Madness are just an awesome company. So that's on a coyote head, 10 gram, right? On a 4 to 24 gram or 7 to 28 gram rod, that thing will really travel. Okay, that'll go quite the distance, and it's just the right size for your early season sand eel. You know, really nice imitation. Comes in a bunch of colors. You also have the opportunity to use a different style, slightly heavier head. That's the Evo head. Just to give it a bit more versatility and what have you, a bit more castability. But really like that lure. Again, available in a whole range of colours. I've shown you some yesterday. This next lure is a lure that doesn't get talked about a lot in Ireland. Never really caught on. Don't know why. It's because it's super effective. It's huge in France, right? This is the 1-Up slug. So obviously inspired by the 1-Up shad, but if you look, it's a much thinner profile, right? So it's like the 1-Up shad slim, but without the paddle tail, okay? And it just is a smashing bait. Now, there's a number of ways you can fish that. You can tip it along the bottom or whatever, but you can also fish it mid-water, right? It will fish, especially if you fish it on the likes of that Texas eel head, right? I'm trying to think of the name of the other head. It'll fish really well on a coyote head because it'll dart from side to side. And oh yeah, the BR fish head, right? That will really get that lure darting around the place, you know, kind of with that lovely zigzag motion. But it's a lure I've had great success with, and especially in that I love that colour, both in the 1-Up shad and the 1-Up slug. That's baby bass. It just seems to, I don't know what it is about it. It's just a green back with that kind of white, almost translucent body. Very, very natural. Very good for clear, clean water fishing, right? So not just for the estuary, right? I fish those on the coast as well. I'll fish them over the reef. Speaking of which, let's have a look at. So this is the new lure I'm building myself. That's the power slide there, okay? And it's rigged on the permalock weighted BKK hook, right? I'm going to show you one of those now. I really absolutely love them. That's the 4.0, right? So let's have a look at the permalock in a 4.0 and why I think it's so good, right? So it's got a tiny little tungsten weight in it, just at the front, okay? So it means your lure is going to fall nose first, right? And with that lure, that means that's going to put super action into this really jiggly tail, right? So it's going to fall and the tail will be absolutely just no way as it goes, right? They are, I'm just trying to get you how much, sorry, my glasses, where are my glasses? Absolutely blind. Oh, here we go. They're not heavily weighted either, right? It's only 1/16 of an ounce, and then the hook itself is obviously adds to that, but you know, it's not a huge weight, as you can see, right? But it makes a difference, right? And it also has this really nice, see these two spikes? So let me show you how to rig a lure onto that, right? So that's one of my favorite one-up shads, particularly for clear water fishing. That's pollock, right? Hard to get your hands on. Super natural. I mean, like, just lovely imitation of a baby pollock. Got a nice bit of glitter on the bottom so that when you're pulling it over the kelp beds, it'll glint and flash and catch the attention of any bass that might be hanging around in there. But to get these to rig up, there's no twisting or anything. You just simply measure it up and push. And those two little clips work their magic. They hold your plastic in place. Again, you line it up. Just going to have to pull back a bit to get this on right now because I want it to look. Pop it through the center. Right, so there you go. Absolutely smashing. And I mean, you can fish that everywhere, from the coast to let it drift over a reef. You can fish it up the back of the estuary, the front of the estuary. You know, fish that on the open beach. Just flick it into the wash and let it flap around. I mean, just phenomenal. And I mean, the roughest of ground, you'll be able to, you know, count it down and then just start to retrieve or whatever. And mix up your retrieve, whether you go with like slow and steady or whatever. But just a really nice little system. Love those permalocks. Going to get a bunch more of them in. So that's your paddle tails and one or two of your kind of what we call stick baits, right? Really liking how my lure is turning out. Like, I really think it's going to fish quite well. Fair play to Clive. He put a lot of thought into the design. Love these guys, right? This is the Mad Slug 150. So again, that's on a 4.0 permalock right there. You can see, you'd barely even know there was a hook on it. But even the little bit of weight drags the nose down, right? I mean, watch how many fish those catch this year. These are going to be, I think, one of the lures of the year. I know Andy Davies from the UK was fishing them extensively last year. I mean, he was just hopping off fish on them. Let me show you some of the other colours. Have I got open packets? I don't have open packets out. Doesn't matter. I'm going to be using them for myself anyway. These are definitely coming to. These are coming to Canada for sure, because they're tough. You know, Madness used to make an awful lot of very kind of very good baits, but very soft baits. I put up a video the other day of me taking a bass in the boat, and it was taking on one of their baits. I think I might have one here. It's a mad fin or a mother worm, and I mean, they are super soft. No, can't seem to see it just right now. Super soft, but incredibly effective. But the problem is, and especially with the price that lures have gone to. I mean, I'm looking at the price of lures, and honest to God, as a retailer, I can guarantee you this much: we're not being greedy. Right? We're not being greedy. I mean, the price is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't pay it. So Here we go. So there's the Mad Slug 150, and that's in green awashi. Absolutely lovely, isn't it? Bit of sparkle in it, just perfect, right? So the last one was rigged on an offset hook, but we're going to rig this guy on a coyote, and that's 10 gram trio coyote. So again, right, when you're rigging these, just pop your bait up against them, right, so you can see, okay, I know. So in this case, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th dot, which is kind of handy, right? So I can go against the 5th dot. I know I need to be about there. Get it nice and center in the middle of the lure. Push. I'm going to guess that that's about 5. And I guessed pretty well. Yeah. Lovely. Bob's your uncle, okay? Now that you can fish anywhere. I mean, I can think of some gutters on the Copper Coast where you just, on the flooding or the dropping tide, with that current ripping through from right to left or whatever, just flicking it up the current and up, 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 just getting it to dart across. I mean, bass are just going to nail that bad boy, right? And be able to put it on a reasonably heavy head as well if you're fishing in some inclement conditions. So really versatile lure in terms of how many ways you can fish it and the variety of colours. And it also comes then in the classic Megabass colour of IU. Right, now it's not Megabass lure, but I mean that's very similar to an IU X layer, right? And tough, right? But no rattle in there, so you can put your own rattle in and lots of space to do so, right? So Mad Slug 130, keep an eye on it this year. I think a pack of them would last you a long time. So we looked at rigging the one up on the Texas eel, right, which is a handy way. But what about if you want to fish it super shallow? One of the options is to fish with the permalock, but if you need a little bit more weight, you might need to turn to decoy. So this is up at about 2.5 grams, right? And you'd be amazed how much difference that makes to your casting distance, right? Particularly in windy conditions. And it'll keep that lure stable if you've got quite a bit of chop, right? I mean, look at the attention to detail put into those lures. They're just bump. Super. Okay, so a lot of that stuff is supernatural, right? Like really trying to imitate bait fish, etc. You know, like look, that looks like some sort of fish, sand eel-y type, right? Okay, could be lance, could be, yeah, right? But there are days when you just want something that stands out from the crowd, right? And that's when I turn to one of my favourite colours, and particularly at night, believe it or not, is that hot pink, fluorescent pink, right? I also like the bubblegum pink, right? I'm actually shooting some bubblegum pink this morning in the power slide. But that there just stands out from the crowd, right, particularly. And the other colour I also like is green chartreuse, right? It just stands out from the crowd. You know, it'll catch the fish's attention. That's a little spindleworm 4-inch on a 10 gram, again, 10 gram trio coyote. I mean, probably my most versatile head when I don't have to fish weedless, right? It's a head I like to use an awful lot. It just works really, really well. So, oh yeah, look at this. I mean, that's the 14 grams, right? And only a little 90 mil lure. I mean, absolutely hammers out there. Just perfect for the job, right? Now, let's talk about the big stuff. So what do you do when it's absolutely humping in and you still want to fish, right? So your options are you fish metal baits, that's one way around it. You fish needle sticks is another way around it. Or you fish heavier jig heads, right? So lures you don't hear a lot about, but I've caught an awful lot of fish on. That's the Saori shad, right? Evo 2. And you get 3 of those, I think, for €10. For nothing. 3 of the bodies, right? That one is particularly badly rigged, by the way. Just let me fix that. Well, anyway, I'll whip it off because I want to show you the head. And that is a 25 gram trio rolling head. All right. So that really will get the business done on your soft plastic. You can put any soft plastic. It's a 3O, right? So it'll take a 1-up shad. It'll take an X layer. It'll take anything. It'll take one of these bad boys. Love these. This is the Raid Full Swing, 5-inch. I'm going to get have it in 3 colors there. I'm going to get it in the 4-inch version as well. I mean, talk about durable. It is as hard as nails, and yet they've managed to maintain loads of flexibility. And I don't know if you can see, but you see the wideness of the body here, right? And they've got this just lovely 2-tone color, great big slapper on the back, right? I mean, that is just, for me, for surf fishing, that is going to be ideal. Now, granted, I'm going to want to be fishing the favourite 852 heavy, because between them, that's going to weigh easily 30-something grams, right? So it's not for the faint-hearted. It's certainly not for your light estuary rod, right? It's for your heavy, big weather rod, right? And just because it's big weather doesn't mean you won't catch fish. I've caught lots of fish in absolutely howling gales, right? Again, another kind of big weather lure, the giant X layer, on a slightly bigger coyote head this time. So we're up to 15 grams now, to get us a bit of castability. That's in Wakasaji. It's so funny, right? When the X layer came out, I'll never forget the morning. I bought them in Waterford Angling Centre off John there, lovely fella, and great shop. And I saw them and I said, oh, I'll take those or whatever. And we went down to, I was meeting Henry Gilby down in Banno, and I think Mick Ward was over. How you, Mick? Mr. Fish Jersey was over. And God bless him, poor Trevor was on that trip as well. Trevor passed away recently. He was an absolute gent of a man, a beautiful man, and great crack to fish with. So Mick had brought the feed shallow. We'd never seen a feed shallow before, and everybody was bananas fishing the feed shallow. I mean, this is, 25 years ago, right? I mean, lures were hard to come by. And we were nailing fish on the feed shallow. I remember he had it in 2 colours. One was a kind of a gold IU, and I can't remember what the other colour was. Might have been a sardine or something. But anyway, I showed up with my little X layers, and we were fishing a great big sandbar. And what happens is the tide, the estuary empties out, and it empties out in quite a narrow channel, and then suddenly it splits, right? And usually one of the storms will throw up a big sandbar, so you'll get a channel comes this way, right? Shoots off to your right, and the main channel keeps going on out that way, and then the tide pushes out towards a pair of islands, right? But it used to be, now I'm not sure if it's there because I haven't been there this year. Somebody from there rang me the other day, bought a few lures, so I must go over for a look. But it used to be that if you waited until like 3 hours down the tide and you took your kahunas in your hands, you could wade across that channel, right, and get onto that bar, and there would be just stacks of fish going past you, right? But I mean, you were doing it on your tippy toes, and I mean, I was 30, 28, right? I was fit and, strong, and, like it was, when I look back on it, it was lunacy, I remember one day Henry's dog, I think she's Shep, is it? I can't remember her name. Jess, or no, I can't remember. But anyway, but the dog swam past me. I was like, Jesus, this goddamn dog. So, but we get onto the bar and we had the X layers, and everybody, of course, headed straight for the tip of the bar, thinking, oh, we want to get out there, hit it as hard and as fast as we can. And I kind of wasn't in the humour. I just hung back a bit. I put up an X layer on the only jig head I had at that time, which was a mother head from Exorus, weighed 20 grams of all things. And I threw out the 4.5-inch X layer. It was only in the water, and dunk, dunk, dunk. And I hit the fish. And I think I took 3 fish out of that hole just in quick succession in 3 casts. 1, 2, 3. Dunk, dunk, dunk. And I'll never forget the look in Henry's face. He was like, holy crap, what is that thing you're fishing, And it was just a good old 4.5-inch X layer, right? And there is a bit of a drive to kind of, people have forgotten about this as a bait. I got a message off somebody the other day who was like, thank you so much, because I was fishing the other night and he was fishing the Albi snack and he kept getting bumps and bumps and couldn't hook up, and popped up one of these bad boys, threw it in amongst them, and he said no sooner had it hit the water than the fish had it. Boom, fish on. So they really are a super effective lure. Why? I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is my experience, right? I don't claim to be any expert in amino acids or scents or anything else that they use, or technique or anything else. I just know that if there are fish around and I pop this in front of them and I can keep the weed off it, chances are they will have a pop at it, right? Yeah, I digressed off into a big, long, wobbly story there. But so we were talking about the big stuff. Here you go. Here's another lure for the big stuff. So that's the Mad Eel 120, right? Now, what amazes me is I wish they'd make one in the middle, right? Because they go from 90, which is this little guy, to this guy, and I wish there was one that was kind of, in between, right? But this guy, when it's blowing and you got a bit of wave on my local beach in Tremor, that guy fishes like stinking the surf. It fishes really, really well. Super bait. And that Wakasagi, look at that Wakasagi colour. It's lovely, right? Really reflexive, lovely bit of work with the plastisol, and it's got the ribs on it to see here, push a bit of water, cause a bit of disturbance and stuff. So that's what I fish with the big stuff. And then I just have a whole whack of, oh yeah, you can't talk about soft plastics and not talk about these guys, right? So if you have not persevered with these, you're missing out. The dark sleeper, right? Persevere with it, because once you get the hang of it, they are lethal effective. Now, they really are a clear water bait, right? You really want kind of clean water so the fish can see them, because the whole point of this lure really is that it's sort of ultra realistic, right? Now it can be pink and still be ultra realistic, because when I mean ultra realistic, I mean size and profile, right? I have no idea what way bass see colour. I'm absolutely certain they don't see it the same way we do, right? But for all intents and purposes, that looks like a goby, right? Now where is my, I don't know. I've showed you it before anyway. The other one is the dark sleeper, right? It's an absolutely mint lure. I mean, it's expensive, but it's a mint lure, right? Now, and I'm going to shut up after this because I'm going to go and have a cup of coffee and shoot some plastic lures. But this guy, I love. This is the fish roller from Raid. And you know those little sprat that have been everywhere, right? And you can't get a bass to take anything? Well, there's your answer right there, I reckon. That little guy, it's got that lovely split tail, right? And I've rigged it on a 7 gram batchy, but you could put it on anything. You put it on a little 5 gram batchy, you could put it on a 2.0, BKK permalock. Fish it, like if I was to take the 722 rod with me down the estuary, I'd have no problem casting that on that rod, right? Get that to absolutely fly out. I think that is going to absolutely nail fish this year when it gets tough. So that is it. Oh, jeez, don't throw my lures away. I've thrown enough away as it is. That's it for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm not sure if I'll have time tomorrow. Before I go, I will be at Adair Springs next Saturday for the show. Be there early, get to me early, because I'm going to have some stuff that was demonstration that I'm selling off. Yeah, and bring some cash with you. Because I'm selling off the demonstration stuff, and I'll also have a couple of second-hand. I'm selling off a couple of my old rods that are absolutely mint, and I'll guarantee them and stuff. But I don't want to run them through the business because they're not really, the VAT's already been paid on them. So if you want to buy them, it'll be a second-hand deal, you know yourself. But come and see me at the show. Say hello, even if you're not buying lures, just come say hi. And let's talk fishing. And I'm going to do the podcast for an hour with Cormac on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. It should be a bit of fun, and I'll have a few rods with me and a huge selection of lures, and we've got some new products. We've got some new stuff coming on online, but I'm not going to talk about that until it actually gets here. Okay, so enjoy the weather. It looks like it's tuning up to be a nice day. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all soon.